Hey everybody, welcome, welcome to Hidden Horror. Thank you for spending this time with me. I appreciate that. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to Hidden Horror. I want to bring you just a quick update on James and Jennifer Crumbley. As you may know, James and Jennifer Crumbley, they were the first parents in the United States to be charged with a level of homicide. They were charged with involuntary manslaughter for the mass shooting that occurred in November of 2021. Their son at the time, 15-year-old Ethan Crumbley, went to his high school, Oxford High School, and unalived four of his fellow students, and he also injured others. So the parents were charged. The strong basis was that they were neglectful. They neglected him. They provided him with the GUN by purchasing it, and then he then went and used that GUN to do this mass shooting at the high school. This was a very salacious case when it happened because no one had ever charged a parent with the level of homicide. And also, when the facts began to come out about Ethan Crumbley, the mass shooting, his mental health, how his mental health was deteriorating, how he had wrote in his journal his plans. He was left alone quite a bit. Most people would consider it to be a form of neglect or even abuse. How he was treated when he asked for help. His mom laughed at him in the face. He drew pictures that were very disturbing. He would go to school, watch videos of violent nature. The day of the mass shooting, his parents were at the high school that morning for a meeting about a very disturbing image that depicted gun violence. There was a GUN on the picture. There was blood coming out of the person's head. The picture said, "The thoughts won't stop. Help me," etc., etc. So both James and Jennifer Crumbley, Ethan Crumbley's parents, in separate trials, they both were convicted of manslaughter. And back on April 9th, 2024, they both were sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison. Now, I'm here to bring you just a very short update on what's going on. It's very likely you can expect that both James and Jennifer Crumbley are going to appeal their guilty verdicts. They have no reason not to, right? They can always stand on the basis that this has never happened before. I don't think they're going to get anywhere. There were some other issues that were litigated in court and were appealed, and the court said that there was a lot of evidence against them. So I think that their guilty verdicts will stand. Now, they could take it all the way to the Supreme Court if they like, but they were convicted in jury trials individually, both of them. So we will see, but this article is just to update us that now they have been assigned appellate attorneys, and that is the starting point to file for an appeal. So let's get to the article, right? This is a quick, easy one. This article is by WWMT.com. It's titled "James and Jennifer Crumbley Receive Appointed Appellate Attorneys Following Convictions." It's by Dejanay Booth Singleton, and it was written April 24th, 2024. James and Jennifer Crumbley, the parents of the Oxford High School shooter, obtained appointed appellate attorneys after being sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison earlier this month for involuntary manslaughter. Court records show Michael Desi was appointed as Jennifer Crumbley's attorney, while Alana Sharon was appointed for James Crumbley. It is the initial step in filing an appeal, which the Crumbleys have not done yet. The parents were convicted in February and March, months after their son was sentenced to life in prison for the shooting. The teen, who was a student at the time of the incident, pleaded guilty to multiple charges. The Crumbly's case made history as the first time the parents of a school shooter were convicted. They both were sentenced on April 9th and sent to separate prisons in the state. Now, I'm not going to bring up an article on what I'm about to say now, but I just want to say this. Um, at one point, Ethan Crumbley reached out. Well, maybe I should bring up an article. One second. Let me see. Let me bring this article up. I'm going to share the article on the Hidden Horror Facebook page now, because this kind of goes hand in hand at where they are. Um, Ethan Crumbley wanted to get some testimony from his parents to assist him in his appeal, and both of them refused to assist him in his appeal. So, in a separate video, I talked about this already, but Ethan Crumbley, he was sentenced in December of 2023 to life without the possibility of parole. Ethan Crumbley now is 18 years old. He turned 18 in April. And of course, he doesn't want to stay in prison for the rest of his life. So he's trying to get that life without the possibility of parole changed. And now he's coming back, he's fighting back, he's saying, hey, all of my issues, they were not out in court. Um, I did not express all issues that I had. I didn't bring witnesses forward on my behalf to express my hardship, what I went through, basically what led me to do this mass shooting. And I think at the time of his trial, his trial was first, then Jennifer's trial was second, and then James Crumbley's trial was third. They all were, James and Jennifer Crumbley were convicted by juries, and Ethan Crumbley, he pled guilty, okay? I think they wisely separated the trials, and they did them in the order that they did them, because Ethan Crumbley was not going to testify on the behalf of his parents. His parents were not going to testify his trial was first. So by them all having sentencings and James and Jennifer Crumbley being convicted, it kind of worked out really good for the prosecutions. And now Ethan Crumbley is now trying to back up and say, hey, we could have done more. I had ineffective counsel. I mean, you can expect this. I mean, you have to expect this, because he has nowhere to go. I mean, he has nothing to lose by fighting it out. He has nothing but time on his hands. But he didn't bring up these issues. He didn't present any alternative. He didn't bring on witnesses to his character. And that could have been due to the fact that maybe he hoped he wouldn't get life without the possibility of parole. Maybe knowing that he would get life, but maybe the hope of getting out after 30 years or whatever. So now it's like hindsight, I have a new set of attorneys now, and I had ineffective counsel, and they didn't do all they could, and they should have brought up these issues and those issues and all of that. Well, both his parents said, hey, we're not going to help you in that endeavor, because that's going to make us look bad if we give you evidence to show that we abused, neglected you, and et cetera, et cetera. That was some of the basis, the foundation of the convictions for their case, to show how bad they were, how they failed him, how they didn't put the gun up, that fact that they purchased him a GUN, et cetera, et cetera. So it makes sense that they're not going to help Ethan Crumbley with his appeal, but Ethan also wasn't going to help them in their trials and say, hey, it was all on me. He tried in his sentencing to throw out, hey, my parents didn't have any knowledge of what I was doing and what I was planning. Nobody knew it. But that night before the shooting, when they locked you out of the house and you did that 20-minute video Ethan Crumbley did, that was very telling about the relationship and the dynamics. And that is what escalated to do the mass shooting the next day. That's in all honesty. So I'm not surprised that everybody's playing their hand. But let me read the article. I will read the article and flesh this out more. So the article is on NBCnews.com. It's titled Ethan Crumbley's Parents Refuse to Help Him Appeal His Murder Conviction. The article is dated March 21st, 2024, and it's by Dion J. Hampton. Let's go for it. I wasn't going to do this, but I'm just adding this little piece in because it's kind of important. Okay, mass shooter Ethan Crumbley asked his parents for help appealing his life sentence, but they refused to disclose documents that he said would strengthen his case, according to court documents. Crumbley, who was 15 when he opened fire at Oxford High School in Michigan, unaliving 4 classmates and injuring 7 other people, asked an Oakland County Circuit Judge on May 10th for pre-sentencing investigation reports used in the involuntary manslaughter trials of Jennifer and James Crumbley that include information about their home and family life. James and Jennifer Crumbley were found guilty in separate trials this year that for the first time in the U.S. held the parents of a mass school shooter criminally responsible. Both are serving 10 to 15 years in prison. The records Ethan Crumbley requested would shed light on his upbringing and possible mental state while he was growing up, which could help his appeal, his lawyer said in the May 10th court filing. But in response filed on May 14th, James Crumbley urged the judge to deny the motion, saying his son could inform his legal team himself about his early home life. Counsel has an able-bodied client who can advise his own counsel as to his family. James Crumbley's attorney said the document, adding that defense lawyers had failed to demonstrate why the information couldn't come directly from his son. Jennifer Crumbley also filed a motion objecting to her son's request. Mrs. Crumbley has not waived her statutory privilege, allowing the disclosure of her pre-sentence report, according to her May 14 filing in Oakland County Court. Ethan Crumbley's lawyers, Jacqueline Overy and Allison Swain, asked in the filing that the confidential pre-sentencing reports be released under a protective order that would allow the court to review them while withholding them publicly. A judge could decide on the motion as early as Wednesday. Attorneys for the 3 Crumbleys did not respond to requests for comment. Separately, Ethan Crumbley also has asked the court to consider hearing from lay witnesses in this case, family members who can attest to the home environment he grew up in. Such testimony might allow him to change his guilty plea or have his sentence declared invalid, because introducing it at trial might have prevented him from receiving a life sentence, his lawyer said in court records. His original defense team didn't allow lay witnesses during his trial, but his appellate lawyer said in the court records that they plan to present those statements and other pertinent information in the appeal, even though many family members have said they have been harassed by the media and exposed to danger. Ethan Crumbley lawyers has asked the court to keep the family members' names under seal, but Circuit Judge Kwame Rowe last week denied the request, contending public interest in the case outweighs any potential harassment. Rowe was the judge who imposed the maximum sentence on Ethan Crumbley, who pleaded guilty in the shooting, which unalived Madison Baldwin, 17, Tate Neer, 16, Hannah St. Juliana, 14, and Justin Schilling, 17 years old. Crumbley apologized for his actions shortly before sentencing. I am a really bad person. I've done terrible things that no one should ever do, he said. I've hurt many people, and that's what I've done. And I'm not denying that. But that's not who I plan to be. Well, guess what? Do better. Take responsibility. Stop trying to get out of it because you deserved that life sentence without the possibility of parole. You deserved it. You asked for it. You said, make the families happy. Give them what they want so they're at peace, that they don't have to be afraid. Make the decision to do the right thing. If someone commutes you later, if you go into prison and you make a change and you do better, maybe you will get another chance. But for now, take it and make the best of your life. Go and reach out and tell other young youths not to do what you did. Don't make these poor decisions, devastating entire communities, destroying your life, your family, and others. Because a lot of people are hurt. They're struggling. They have mental health issues. They're not happy. They're not satisfied. They're having a hard time, facing challenges. But they don't go and they don't hurt others. Maybe one day there is a possibility, there is room for you to return to society. However, it does not negate what happened, what you did, how you harmed all these people, how you took the lives of those kids forever. Their families are hurt, devastated, in a nightmare, fighting every day just to get up and exist. Not alone deal with all of their responsibility, their other kids, their commitments, their jobs, their pressures. You've destroyed their lives, their sibling lives. You've taken so much from them. But you ask, care about me, understand me, see where I'm at, what brought me here. But you didn't think, you didn't consider anybody else in this equation. You only thought of yourself. Let the families have some peace. Allow them to grieve. None of them get another chance with their child. They don't. As hard as that reality is, they have an empty space, an empty room, only memories, only videos. They never get to see that child develop any further in life, making accomplishments, following their dreams. Something that Ethan Crumbley never considered was the day to day loss. Loss of all the freedoms, all of the things that you wanted to do. Now it's very hard to accept the new reality. The dark place that you were in, the loneliness you felt, now you're stripped of the parents, of the community, of your freedom of choice, time. I think in many ways, the victim parents are in a nightmare, but you're in a nightmare too. But I believe they can get through day by day, interlocking, loving each other, helping one another. For you, Ethan Crumbley, I pray that people pour love into you and care. Something I believe you lacked, you didn't receive. And it wasn't fair. But moreover, your choices, they weren't good, they weren't fair, and it affected a lot of people outside of you. Your parents weren't going to come and help you in this endeavor. Even in the end, they fought for themselves individually, not for you. There's no winners in any of it. A lot of pain, a lot of heartache, a lot of hard days, a lot of holidays, a lot of birthdays. No winners. You wanted to see the people cry. You wanted to inflict a lot of pain. You wanted people to feel the pain that you felt. And look how it feels. Not good. Your nightmare is really just beginning. You say you plan to be different. I hope so. I hope I'm here to see the difference. The least you can do is be a better man because you took a lot from people that did nothing to you in life. You made a choice, and now you have to pay that debt back to society. You have no idea what you did, but you're going to. You're going to. I will continue to bring you updates with Ethan, James, and Jennifer Crumbley. The Crumbley family. Please remember, stay smart, stay safe, stay savvy. Be well, all my friends. Take care. I will see you soon. Bye, everybody. Good night. Good night, everybody.